officially letting Hazel go from the roster. Hazel E, you are too old to be acting this young. We're done. Dead on it. We're done. I'd rather be with a young bitch, you feel me? Dead on it.
Oh, buckle up, because what you're about to hear makes the Kardashians look like they're living in a silent meditation retreat. Apparently, while Blueface was busy juggling homecomings, DNA tests, and Instagram meltdowns, Hazel E just walked in like a Marvel villain during the end credits scene and dropped bombshells so explosive. JR's name is practically smoking in the air. And no, this isn't your average somebody went live and talked spicy. This feels like behind-the-scenes receipts, screenshots, whispers, voice notes, and maybe the kind of evidence that makes family group chats suddenly go dead silent. Hazel E didn't just clap back. She struck back with more accuracy than a heat-seeking missile. The energy was, "Oh, you thought I was done? Cute." And while Blueface tried to play it chill, social media is convulsing. JR questions are multiplying like TikTok conspiracy theories. And fans are begging for insulin because the tea is too sweet. Sources, commenters, shady cousins, and even people who swear they know someone who once knew someone who maybe worked security for Hazel E are calling this the biggest junior leak yet. And trust me, if what Hazel just exposed is even half true, Blueface is about to wish the internet had an off switch. From the moment Hazel E pressed post, people swear they felt the earth's tilt. The woman known for serving calculated shade like Michelin-rated dessert suddenly unleashed a storm that made Blueface's past controversies look like kindergarten slap fights. And at the center of it all, JR, the name that has haunted timelines, comment sections, and DNA comparisons for months. Hazel didn't tease. She detonated. She hinted that while Blueface played the innocent card harder than a soap opera lead, there's far more to the junior story than fans ever imagined. And of course, the internet acted like someone found a Kardashian email leak. Shock, meltdown, and rapid-fire theories everywhere. Hazel E allegedly dropped claims that the narrative around Junior was twisted like a pretzel left in the sun too long. According to her version, Blueface might have been more involved in situations surrounding Junior than he ever acknowledged publicly. She didn't say it politely either. She used wording that felt like courtroom testimony mixed with reality TV confessionals. It's the kind where producers don't blink because they know the ratings just skyrocketed. If Hazel's tea is genuine, Blueface wasn't just reacting to the Junior saga. He may have been one of the architects behind the confusion, and nothing stung viewers more than Hazel implying that certain misunderstandings around Junior weren't accidents but calculated chaos. Social media sleuths lost their minds. Commenters circled phrases like detectives at a crime board, zooming into screenshots, analyzing Hazel's tone, and piecing together Blueface's timeline like they were prepping for an FBI briefing. JR's name became the centerpiece of explanations that sounded more twisted than a Hollywood reboot plot. Hazel made it sound like the truth wasn't just hidden, it was buried in concrete, wrapped in duct tape, and stored behind multiple NDAs. Of course, right after the leak, Blueface's camp allegedly scrambled like someone spilled bleach on designer clothes. Some fans insisted they heard panic in the silence. Others swore that Blueface's sudden drop-off from certain platforms wasn't coincidence, it was strategy. Hazel's claims pointed fingers at private arguments, deals gone sideways, family disagreements, and unsettling phone exchanges involving JR's situation that were never meant to see daylight. When people replayed Hazel's words, they felt surgical precision, like she waited, watched, collected, and finally struck the tender nerve. And the sarcasm dripping from Hazel's delivery only made it worse. Instead of pretending she was sad to expose anything, she laughed. She made it sound like she'd been holding on to receipts that were practically smoking in her drawer. If Blueface thought old drama faded like expired milk, Hazel's tone screamed the opposite. Nothing was forgotten, nothing forgiven, and now it was open season. Even people who hated admitting it found themselves glued to her claims. It was like watching a tower collapse in slow motion, horrifying, but impossible to look away from. Hazel described private exchanges involving Blueface and the Junior saga with such detail that viewers wondered how much more she knew. She made it sound like the truth was messy, expensive, and the kind of thing that makes lawyers eat lunch while sweating. She hinted that certain people used JR's name as leverage, clout, or emotional chess pieces while the public sat outside blindfolded. That twist alone made the story feel darker than anyone expected. If Hazel's implying someone manipulated the narrative for sympathy or control, then this scandal isn't drama, it's a social earthquake. Fans went wild when Hazel hinted Blueface wasn't the only one who knew more than he admitted. She alluded to whispers, group chats, and back-channel conversations that sounded straight out of a spy documentary. Everyone wanted to know who else was on that invisible list. Who else played a part in Junior confusion? Who pulled strings? Hazel made it feel like a board of suspects could be assembled, red yarn and pushpins included. People swore she was purposely vague just to terrify everyone involved, and it worked flawlessly. Then came the claims that Blueface's reactions weren't spontaneous heartbreak moments, but rehearsed. Measured responses crafted to keep eyes sympathetic. Hazel framed him as someone who could cry on cue if the stakes were high enough. Fans argued in comment threads, alliances split, and even some longtime Blueface defenders were forced to admit that Hazel laid out clues too specific to ignore. Suddenly, JR wasn't just a child caught in public DNA chaos, Junior. It became the centerpiece of a grand human chess match. Hazel twisted the knife further by suggesting that certain arguments, emotional breakdowns, or side interviews Blueface participated in were strategically staged to sway public opinion on the Junior situation. If you were watching this unfold live, you definitely felt chills. Hazel wasn't screaming. She was quietly dismantling a public image like an engineer unlocking bolts. Every sarcastic jab, every eyebrow or sentence felt like a signal that there was more truth hidden behind her first bombshell. The suspense was so thick, people joked they needed knives just to slice through it. Blueface loyalists tried clapping back, saying Hazel was stirring chaos for attention. But even they couldn't deny that she presented her narrative with the confidence of someone who knows she's sitting on more dynamite. Hazel positioned herself as someone who watched Blueface juggle headlines and sympathy from the sidelines while knowing the deeper truth all along. JR wasn't just a baby caught in public dispute. Junior, in Hazel's tone, became proof of contradictions, timelines that didn't match, and private discussions that never aligned with what the world saw publicly. Online comment sections turned battlefield as people debated whether Hazel's leak exposed hidden motives, financial tension surrounding Junior, or emotional manipulation used to keep certain outcomes in favor. Hazel had everyone convinced that what the public saw was a watered-down trailer of a much uglier full-length movie. And the way she delivered it, brutal. Calm voice, sharp storytelling, and sarcasm sharper than a chef knife. Blueface became the inadvertent villain of Hazel's chapter, the person holding cards he didn't want anyone to see. Even more chilling was Hazel, implying that her information wasn't based on rumors but direct exchanges, personal involvement, and first-hand exposure to Junior-related situations. She described it as if she had been in the room when crucial conversations unfolded. Whether that's true or not didn't matter. She sounded convincing enough to make everyone uneasy. And that's the magic of Hazel's strike. She triggered doubt. And once doubt is born, it grows faster than wildfire in dry summer grass. Meanwhile, social media timelines broke into digital riots. People pulled up old live streams, quotes, screenshots, and facial reactions from Blueface, like detectives reviewing security footage. They matched dates, compared moods, and swore certain interviews made more sense after Hazel's drop. Commentary channels ran emergency lives, podcasts unbuckled seatbelts, and memes flooded the internet faster than apology statements after a cheating scandal. Hazel single-handedly reignited JR speculation that had been simmering quietly for months. And even though Hazel never explicitly stated every detail, her careful wording suggested she had more locked away. Viewers felt like this was merely the appetizer, the sample bite before the full course. It created paranoia, curiosity, and panic wrapped together like a scandal burrito. If Blueface hoped the Junior narrative died down, Hazel revived it like a surgeon with caffeine in their veins. She made it sound like the truth, the whole truth, could scorch reputations, if ever revealed in full. If Hazel's goal was to shake public confidence in Blueface's innocence around the Junior saga, she succeeded without breaking a sweat. And while some begged her to spill everything, others prayed she stayed silent before the internet turned into a pressure cooker. But deep down, everyone wanted more. Because Hazel's strike didn't just expose new angles, it opened a vault, left the door cracked, and walked away, like she enjoys the suspense. And viewers realized one brutal truth. If Hazel dropped this much now, imagine what she still hasn't told. If you want me to continue the next 1,200 words in this exact tone, stronger twists, celebrity reactions, comedic savagery, and cultural chaos. Just say, cultural chaos. Just say, once the smoke from Hazel's first strike settled, the situation escalated like gasoline hitting open flame. Within hours, big pages, gossip blogs, and commentary channels practically sprinted to cover the fallout. And the deeper people dug, the stranger the details became. Hazel didn't just hint anymore. She started describing patterns, conversations, and connections that made the Junior saga feel less like messy family drama and more like an unreleased political conspiracy film. Fans joked they'd seen simpler plots in Christopher Nolan's scripts. If Hazel wanted chaos, she got it delivered like Amazon Prime. Suddenly, the Blueface era timelines started getting dissected with surgeon precision. People rewound old interviews, froze frames, and slowed audio like they were catching alien frequencies. Hazel's insinuations that Blueface managed certain Junior narratives for optics sent shockwaves straight through online culture. Internet sleuths posted split screens showing Blueface's tone shift before and after moments Hazel referenced. A few even made documentary-style breakdowns with soft piano music in the background, as if Hazel just woke society up from a long delusional nap. And just when the hurricane seemed maxed out, Hazel tossed another grenade, subtle but deadly. She suggested other public figures new pieces of the story too. Enablers, observers, silent knowledge holders. People who never stepped forward because exposing the real truth around Junior meant blowing open a vault no one wanted to touch. That one statement alone melted the internet. Overnight, lists formed naming potential insiders like it was a Reddit detective auction. People were grabbing names like drafts, pics, anyone Hazel ever interacted with, suddenly got thrown into the they might know something circle. Meanwhile, memes started flying in every direction. One showed Blueface strapped to a lie detector with sweat pouring off him like a cartoon character. Another pictured Hazel sitting on a throne made of receipts with Junior-themed headlines stacked as bricks. Commenters laughed, saying Hazel reinvented the meaning of public relations nightmare. But behind the jokes, the atmosphere got darker. Some fans rewatched every Blueface clip relating to Junior, with their cheeks pressed to screens like crime scene analysts. Hazel had turned suspicion into audience sport, and everyone was scoring points. Even other celebrities couldn't resist stirring the pot. A few made blurry, cryptic comments under Hazel's posts, dropping eye emojis like they'd been waiting for the day someone finally cracked the vault. Others, who were supposedly friends with Blueface, chose silence so thick it became suspicious on its own. It felt like Hollywood scandal bingo, and Hazel just checked half the card by herself. When a rapper posted, some folks been lying too. Long, people instantly assumed it was subliminal ammo referencing Hazel's claims. Then came the cultural punchlines, comparisons that turned the situation into headline theater. Commentators said the Junior saga made the Tristan Thompson scandals look like kindergarten soft drama. Others called it Maury Show Deluxe Edition. Someone wrote, if DNA tests had a theme song, this story would be the full soundtrack. Hazel basically transformed the entire narrative into a circus tent, and everyone wanted front row seats. That's the power of strategic exposure. One well-aimed statement forces everyone to reevaluate every clip, every tear, every speech that came before. And Hazel didn't let up on tone either. The dripping sarcasm made it sound like she'd been holding back out of courtesy. But now she felt obligated to let the world peek behind the curtain. She spoke like someone whose patience expired years ago. And the Junior situation was unfinished business, rotting in the basement. She even implied that certain celebrity allies tried persuading her to stay quiet. But watching Blueface skate through public sympathy drove her past the point of silence. Fans screenshot every line, convinced that Hazel just exposed the secret puppeteers controlling the Junior narrative. On the flip side, Blueface supporters went into digital warfare mode. They called Hazel bitter, vengeful, irrelevant, classic PR defense tactics when a story spirals out of control. But the problem? Hazel's story came with just enough suggestive detail to make doubt unavoidable. She didn't talk like someone inventing fiction. She talked like someone who knew timelines, voices, receipts, and behind-door conversations personally. Her calm tone was what terrified people the most. It's always scarier when the storyteller isn't screaming, just confidently cutting through illusions. Soon, commentators began asking one chilling question. If Hazel exposed this much casually, what's the nuclear version? What happens if someone pushes Hazel too far? Does she drop names, recordings, screenshots? Does she unleash the unreleased footage conspiracy theorists already convinced themselves exists? TikTok stitched Hazel clips with suspense violin soundtracks. YouTube thumbnails gave her a halo made of flames. One gossip channel even titled their reaction video, "Hazel has receipts that could end careers." Whether true or exaggerated, the suspense wrapped everyone by the throat. Then came an unexpected twist. Hazel hinted that some behind-the-scenes conversations weren't just messy. They were manipulative. She made it sound like JR was weaponized as narrative leverage when convenient. That implication alone sent fans into philosophical spiral. If what she suggested held weight, then Junior wasn't just an innocent kid in a headline storm. Junior became symbolism for truth buried under emotional theatrics. Suddenly, Hazel's exposure felt less like gossip and more like a morality trial. People argued that if Hazel's version is real, then the Junior timeline wasn't a tragedy. It was a chess strategy built on public sympathy, and not a single person watched Blueface the same after that. Every smile, every live meltdown, every moment he referenced Junior now looked like a performance with hidden script revisions. Commenters swore they noticed cracks in his tone months ago. Others admitted that Hazel's claims unlocked something they overlooked. Even those who didn't want to believe her felt uneasy. Hazel turned Junior from a rumor magnet into the digital version of Pandora's box. The more you look, the more darkness you see. The wild part. Amid the chaos, Hazel never claimed to be the ultimate victim. She spoke like someone who simply refused to let false narratives simmer. Like someone who spent months watching the Junior story twist into a circus while knowing the backstage truth all along. She didn't beg anyone to believe her. She just made statements and left them burning like matches on gasoline. And that confidence triggered more destruction than any loud accusation ever could. Of course, commentary culture milked the moment like it was fresh cocoa on a winter stove. Some creators dropped hour-long analysis videos breaking down Hazel's phrasing frame by frame. Others posted Hazel timeline maps connecting her statements to old Blueface behavior. Even the casual observers who didn't care about the Junior saga 2 days ago suddenly became forensic theorists. Hazel basically turned the entire internet into unpaid scandal detectives. And they didn't mind one bit. And the public imagination ran feral with possibilities. Was someone threatened if they revealed too much about Junior? Were lawyers involved? Did the timeline get edited to protect reputations? What if Hazel wasn't the only one holding evidence? Clips surfaced from old interviews that fans never paid attention to until now. Blueface cracking a weak joke. Blueface breathing sharply at a question. Blueface blinking too long? People decoded every micro-gesture like fortune tellers reading tarot cards. Even more chilling, some users claimed Hazel's information filled the missing puzzle pieces that always bothered them about the Junior saga. Suddenly, moments that once felt random now snapped into alignment. People said Hazel's version was messy, but it had logic. And logic, mixed with shade, exaggeration, and solid storytelling, always travels further than public defense statements. Blueface could post explanations from now until next century once doubt is cemented. No caption can scrape it off. Hazel's blow also shifted public sympathy. Some fans argued Junior deserved truth free from public manipulation. Others said Hazel did what needed to be done. They swore that if the story continued twisted, someone had to break the seal. Hazel's energy became vigilante exposure mode, the "I'm tired of fake storylines" rebellion the internet was subconsciously craving. And with every meme, reaction video, and suspicious emoji, the scandal mutated into cultural wildfire. And just when you thought Hazel's shockwave peaked, she dropped one more eerie message. There's more, but not everyone can handle it. That single sentence spread like a digital siren. Screenshots of it hit Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Reddit. Every platform caught the fever. Some begged her to spill the full timeline. Others feared what it would destroy if she did. But regardless of which side they stood on, both groups admitted the same thing: Hazel rocked. Blueface's image harder than any headline has in years. And that's when people looked at Blueface with suspicion carved into their expressions. If Hazel is half right, then Junior isn't just a scandal storyline. Junior is a mirror reflecting secrets someone hoped never resurfaced. And Hazel, she became the voice reminding the world that buried truth never stays buried forever. Especially when someone like her holds the shovel. As the uproar stretched into days, the real damage began to reveal itself. Hazel's bombshells weren't just trending noise. They reshaped the Junior saga. Like a bulldozer crashing through a porcelain shop. Suddenly, people who once defended Blueface now stared at the story like they were looking at a magic trick gone wrong. Hazel's words replayed in everyone's head, echoing louder with each rewatch of Blueface's past comments. The silence from Blueface's end felt suspicious, heavier than any tweet or live rant. Sometimes silence is louder than confession, and right now, Blueface sounded like a cathedral bell after midnight. Reputations didn't just shift, they swayed like they were dangling off a bridge. Fans asked if the entire Junior scandal was a performance with preset emotional beats. Every shaky breath, every heavy sigh from Blueface in old clips became symbols of something staged. People made compilations of suspicious moments that were once brushed aside as coincidence. Hazel unlocked a dark lens, and now everyone watched the story through suspicion-tinted glass. When the audience sees you as a puppet master instead of a victim, the entire script flips against you. Even more unsettling was how Hazel described the emotional aftermath surrounding Junior. Those private tensions behind the scenes that no Instagram story ever captured. She made it sound like stress, guilt, and power struggles were silently eating through relationships like termites in foundation wood. If Hazel had any truth behind her claims, then Junior wasn't the root of drama. JR was the flashlight exposing it. That idea struck people hardest. It forced them to separate public cries from behind-door motivations. The scandal wasn't about one child. It was about what that child revealed in the adults. Around him, the internet didn't let Blueface breathe. Everything Hazel implied turned into waves of consequence. Commentators questioned his public breakdown moments, wondering if they were artfully placed to detour accountability. Some reposted clips from months ago, the ones where Blueface would suddenly get defensive, flip narratives, or throw jabs at anyone who questioned him. When Hazel wrapped those pieces in context, the public saw them differently. Not as raw emotion, but tactical diversion. In a world addicted to receipts and narrative plot twists, Hazel made Blueface look like he'd been holding cards upside down all along. Meanwhile, Hazel's silence after the initial drops became psychological warfare. She didn't go live every hour. She didn't rant. She didn't flood the internet with essays or threats. She sat back while the internet fought over interpretation, and that restraint made everything worse. Humans fear the quiet more than the roar. Everyone assumed more revelations were chained behind her tongue, waiting for the right moment. The thread of unreleased truth turned into a shadow over Blueface's image. People joked that Hazel was the villain and the narrator at the same time, the person who knew the ending while everyone else panicked mid-story. The ripple effects hit people connected to the saga too. Family names, friends, business ties. Anyone who brushed against the Junior timeline suddenly found their old posts being analyzed like archaeological ruins. Comment sections lit up with questions like, did they know? And were they in the room? Hazel made the scandal feel like a secret society initiation. You either knew the truth or you were the audience fooled by the illusion. Influencers tried distancing themselves quietly, untagging, deleting old selfies, pretending they were never near the storm. But screenshots never die, and Hazel's narrative dug them back up like digital ghosts. And then came the moral impact. The realization that if Hazel is right, then JR's name got dragged across headlines for reasons far uglier than the public ever assumed. People questioned whether emotional manipulation was used as shield and sword. Was the Junior story wielded for sympathy points? Was it weaponized to push rivalries, tear down reputations, or distract from personal accountability? The audience spiraled through philosophical tunnels. Because if a child's identity got twisted into media drama, then what does that say about the adults at the center? Blueface's image took a hit that damage control spokespersons only have nightmares about. Even if Hazel was exaggerating, the doubt alone was psychological poison. Once doubt fuses into public memory, it's permanent. The story no longer lives in facts. It lives in the fragile space where truth and rumor shake hands. Fans started demanding clarity. Others demanded proof. Some wanted silence. The Junior saga mutated from curiosity into a courtroom without a judge. And every quiet second from Blueface felt like an admission. Whether he meant it or not, Hazel's final moves were the most haunting. She didn't scream victory. She didn't dance on the headlines. She simply left breadcrumbs, cryptic repetition, subtle jabs, unfinished sentences, if only people knew. Those half-statements scared the public more than full confession ever could, because the worst secrets are the ones left unstated. She created an open-ending cliffhanger that felt like the finale of a show that already got renewed for another season. Blueface became the character waiting to see whether the writers destroy him or redeem him. Except the writers, this time, are viewers and Hazel holding digital grenades. Public perception slid into a split. Some fans clung to disbelief, insisting Hazel was stirring smoke with no flame. Others claimed Hazel took the courage no one else found. But both sides agreed on one brutal reality. The Junior narrative will never be viewed the same again. People looked at Blueface like a magician who fumbled his tricks. They watched Hazel like a ticking bomb with a perfect poker face. And Junior, though just a symbol in these eyes, became the center object everyone wished wasn't dragged into war, yet remains the epicenter of unsolved truth. If Hazel decides to speak again, drop a screenshot or release a name, even one small detail, the internet will erupt like a volcano waking up under a city. Because Hazel didn't just spark gossip. She cracked the illusion built around Blueface's version of the Junior saga. And once reality is cracked, everyone wants to see what falls out. People now question whether more hands shaped the narrative, if more voices were involved, or if Blueface spent months walking on a tightrope above a cliff he pretended didn't exist. The aftermath left a tension that refuses to die. It lingers online like smoke after a house fire, clinging to every name, post, and old interview clip. You can feel the suspense every time Hazel posts anything, even a random selfie. People read captions like coded signals. They wonder if she's hinting at something, preparing something, or quietly waiting to detonate round two. And the terrifying truth, Hazel doesn't have to say one more word to win. She already shifted perception. She already cracked the timeline. She already turned Blueface from narrator into question mark. The Junior Saga. As Hazel framed it, no longer belongs to one person's explanation. It belongs to the audience now. The detectives she unintentionally hired. The skeptics she ignited. The meme makers, the commentators. The investigators digging through old content as if they're solving a crime scene. And whether Hazel ever confirms more or Blueface ever responds, the public will keep the case alive. Because once you suggest a secret exists, humans obsess until they find it. Hazel's strike proved something monstrous about digital culture. Sometimes a whisper destroys more than a scream. And Blueface, no matter what truth he clings to, now walks under a fog of suspicion that follows him into every interview. Every statement, every photo. The Junior Saga should have faded months ago. But Hazel transformed it into a legend. A haunting story that lurks behind every headline involving Blueface. A reminder that truth is fragile and once cracked, it cuts everyone who touches it. And there you have it. Hazel's strike heard around the internet. Whether you're clutching your pearls, raising an eyebrow, or scrolling back through old posts like an FBI intern. One thing is crystal clear. The Junior Saga just got a whole new facelift, courtesy of Hazel E. And if this is only the appetizer, somebody hide the fireworks, because round 2 might actually break the Wi-Fi. But before you dive into the comments to start your own conspiracy thread, do me one favor. Smash that like button like it owes you child support. Scroll down and beat it up like Hazel beat the silence. Drop a comment telling me who you believe, Hazel's cool-headed detonations or Blueface's questionable quiet. And don't forget to subscribe because scandals here don't walk. They sprint, they somersault, and they explode in cinematic slow motion. Around here, we don't sip tea, we chug it straight from the kettle while it's still boiling. Receipts get laminated, timelines get dissected, and no scandal is safe from exposure. So turn notifications on like you're waiting for Hazel's burner account to drop the unedited screenshots. Tomorrow's headline could blow today's story into the sun. And if Hazel really is sitting on nuclear receipts, trust me, you're gonna want to be here when that mushroom cloud hits. So stay locked in, stay messy, and stay ready, because the next leak might not whisper. It might scream. This is Expose Express, where the secrets don't sleep. The drama never clocks out, and the truth always shows up uninvited. Now go ahead and binge another scandal, because we're just getting warmed up. Another scandal, because we're just getting warmed up.